I'm Penelope Anderson, 34 years old, and I worked as a financial analyst in Nevada. I had a younger sister named Abby. She was 31, married to this guy, Jacob, and they had 2 kids together. Our parents had always treated her like she could do no wrong. A few years back, I did something I was really proud of. Isabed up my money, every penny I could spare from my salary, and bought myself a country house on Lake Tahoe. It wasn't huge or fancy, but it was mine. I decorated it exactly how I wanted it. Calm beige walls, a gorgeous sofa in the living room that cost me 3 months' salary, a studio on the 2nd floor where I could paint and just breathe. That house became my personal refuge, the place I went when work got too stressful or when I needed to clear my head. My parents lived nearby in Reno, and Abby and her family rented a place on the other side of town. I saw them holidays mostly. Things were fine, or at least I thought they were. So that Tuesday morning, my phone rang. It was Abby. "Hey, Pen," she said, using that nickname I never liked. "I've got some news. We're moving into your Lake Tahoe house tomorrow." I almost dropped my coffee. "What?" "Yeah. The rent on our place is just way too expensive. We can't afford it anymore, so we're moving into your house. It makes sense, right? You hardly ever use it." My brain was trying to process this. "Abby, you can't just move into my house. It's my house." "Oh, and by the way," she continued like I hadn't even spoken, "I already had some work done. The dining room wallpaper was so boring, so I had it replaced with this really cool silver metallic stuff. Looks amazing. And that sofa of yours in the living room, I had it reupholstered. Much better now. Oh, and I need you to transfer me $4,200 for the contractors. They did a great job." I sat down. I had to sit down. "Abby, what are you talking about? Who gave you permission to do any of that?" "Permission?" She laughed. "Pen, don't be dramatic. I got the spare key from Dad. Mom and Dad think it's a great idea. We're family. You should be helping us out." Then she hung up, just like that. I sat there staring at my phone. My hands were shaking. I called my mother right away. "Mom, did you know Abby is trying to move into my house?" "Oh, yes, dear," Mom said in that sweet voice she used when she wanted me to go along with something. She told us all about it. "It's really the best solution. Their rent is so high, and you barely use that house. It just sits there empty most of the time." "It's my house, Mom. I bought it with my own money." "Well, yes, but family helps family. You know how much Abby is struggling with 2 children, and it's such a big house for just one person who hardly visits. She hired contractors. She changed the wallpaper and my sofa. She's just making it more homey for the children. You should see it. It looks lovely. Abby has such good taste." I closed my eyes. This wasn't new. This was the same thing that had happened my whole life. When Abby borrowed my jewelry for a date and returned it broken, Mom said I should forgive her. When Abby took my car for what was supposed to be a weekend and kept it for 3 months, returning it with a dent in the side, Dad said it was just an accident and I shouldn't make a big deal out of it. Love. When Abby wore my favorite dress to a party and spilled wine all over it, they bought her a new outfit and told me the dress was old anyway. "Mom, this is different. This is my house. Penelope, don't be selfish. Abby needs this." I hung up before I said something I'd regret. My whole body felt hot with anger. I called Abby back. This time, I turned on my phone's recorder. I had a feeling I'd need proof of this conversation. "Did you talk to Mom?" Abby asked when she picked up. "Yes, and my answer is no. You cannot move into my house. Too late. Everything is packed. The wallpaper is already up. The sofa is done. We're moving in tomorrow and you owe me $4,200. I owe you nothing. Get out of my house. It's happening whether you like it or not. Send me the money." Then she hung up again. I grabbed my car keys. I had to see this for myself. The drive from Renoto Lake Tahoe took about an hour, but I barely noticed it. My mind was racing the whole way. How dare she? How could my parents support this? I got there in the evening. The sun was starting to set over the lake. The first thing I noticed was new blinds in the windows, blinds I hadn't bought. I used my key to open the front door. Nobody was inside. They must have gone back to the city for something. I walked in and felt sick. My beautiful beige walls in the dining room were gone. In their place was this awful silvery metallic wallpaper that looked like a nightclub. In the kitchen, someone had installed a cheap wine rack, and I could see rough drill holes in the wall where they'd mounted it. The living room was worse. My gorgeous sofa Theon I'd saved up for and loved had been reupholstered in some terrible fabric with loud patterns. It looked like something from a cheap motel. I went upstairs to my studio. The calm white walls I'd painted carefully were now bright yellow. Not a soft yellow, bright in your face chicken yellow. I felt tears starting, but I pushed them back. Then I noticed something in the corner of the room, a small surveillance camera. I'd forgotten about those. 4 months ago, I'd installed 6 cameras around the house for security. They recorded automatically and saved everything to the cloud. I pulled out my phone and opened the security app. My hands were shaking as I scrolled back through the recordings. 10 days ago, the video showed Abby walking up to my front door like she owned the place. She used a key to let herself in. Then contractors followed her inside with supplies. I turned up the volume. I want the dining room done in silver. Abby was saying something modern. And this sofa needs completely new upholstery, something with color. Another video showed her on the phone. I recognized Dad's voice. Dad, you should see this place. When we move in, it'll be ours. Penelope is going to be so shocked. She was laughing, actually laughing about stealing my house. Jacob appeared in the background of one video. Abby, are you sure about this? Did Penelope really say it was okay? Don't worry about it, Abby said, waving her hand. Mom and Dad are on our side. She'll get over it. I took dozens of photos of every ruined room. I backed up all the security videos to 3 different places. I saved their recording of my phone call with Abby. Then I locked up the house and drove back to Reno. The next morning, I was sitting in a leather chair across from Mr. Harris in his office in downtown Reno. He was a lawyer someone at work had recommended when I'd asked around. Tell me what happened, he said, pulling out a notepad. I showed him everything. The photos of my ruined house, the security videos of Abby letting in contractors and giving them instructions, the recording of her demanding $4,200 from me. He watched the video where Abby was on the phone with my father. When she said, "When we move in, the house will be ours," he raised his eyebrows. "Miss Anderson, this is serious." He said, "What your sister did amounts to several crimes. Trespassing for one. She entered your property without permission. Vandalism because she damaged your property. And this demand for money could be considered attempted extortion. What are my options? You have 2 main paths. First option is a civil lawsuit. We sue for the cost of restoring the house to its original condition, plus compensation for your emotional distress and any other damages. Second option, we do the civil suit and also file criminal charges. That means involving the police. I didn't even hesitate. The second one, I want criminal charges." Mr. Harris nodded slowly. "That's the more severe option. Your sister could end up with a criminal record. Are you sure? I'm sure she's gotten away with things my whole life." "Not this time." "All right then. I'll prepare an official claim for damages and send it to your sister by registered mail. That's the first step. Then we'll file a statement with the police. signed some papers, and wrote him a check for the retainer. Walking out of that office, I felt something I hadn't felt in years when it came to my family. I felt like I had some control. 4 days went by. I went to work, came home, and waited. I didn't call anyone in my family. I didn't respond to anything. Then my phone started blowing up. Abby called 6 times in 1 hour. She sent text after text. Call me. We need to talk. This is ridiculous. You're being insane. I didn't answer. I knew she'd gotten the letter from Mr. Harris. I knew she was panicking now that she realized this wasn't going away. Then my mother called. I almost didn't pick up, but I decided I wanted to hear this. Penelope, what have you done? Mom's voice was shrill. Abby got a letter from some lawyer accusing her of trespassing and vandalism. This is outrageous. It's not outrageous, Mom. It's the truth. She's your sister. She needed help. You have that big house sitting empty and she has 2 children to think about. I took a deep breath. Is there a reason you called, Mom? We're having a family meeting tomorrow at the Lake Tahoe house, all of us. We're going to settle this like adults. I'll come, I said, but I'm bringing something with me. Tell Abby this is her last chance. If she takes all her stuff and leaves before I get there, I'll drop the criminal charges. If she doesn't, she's going to face real consequences. Prison time, Mom. A criminal record. Mom hung up on me. I called Mr. Harris and told him about the meeting. He said to be careful and not to agree to anything without talking to him first. He also said the police statement was ready and he'd already filed it. The next day, I drove to Lake Tahoe. When I pulled up to the house, I saw a big SUV parked in the driveway, my parents' car. I walked to the door and let myself in. They were all waiting in the living room. Mom, Dad, Abby, and Jacob. There were boxes stacked in the corner, their stuff. There she is, Dad said. His voice was cold. Sit down. We need to talk about this lawsuit nonsense. There's nothing to talk about, I said. Abby needs to leave. We've already moved in, Abby said. She had her arms crossed and she looked defiant. The house is done how we want it. We're staying. This house belongs to the whole family, Mom said. Her eyes were red like she'd been crying. You can't just kick your sister out. I pulled out a folded paper from my purse. This is the deed to the house. See this name? Penelope Anderson. I'm the only owner. Not you, not Dad, not Abby. Abby laughed. That piece of paper doesn't mean anything. We already live here. We redid everything. You can't make us leave. I reached into my purse again and pulled out another document. This is a police statement. It lists trespassing, property damage, and attempted extortion, all criminal charges. You and Jacob created a legal problem for yourselves, and if you don't leave right now, I'm going through with everything. The room went quiet. Jacob's face went white. Abby, you told me Penelope agreed to this. You said she said it was fine. She's lying. Abby shouted at him. You're the one who lied, Jacob shouted back. I asked you 3 times if you were sure, and you said your sister was okay with it. They started screaming at each other. Mom started crying, saying I was a terrible daughter who was destroying the family. Dad was shaking his head, telling me I was taking revenge on my sister for some imagined slight. Then someone knocked on the door. I opened it. 2 police officers stood there in uniform, a man and a woman. Miss Penelope Anderson. The male officer asked, We're here about a criminal complaint you filed. Is Miss Abby Thompson here? I'm Abby Thompson, my sister said from behind me. Her voice was shaking. Now, Miss Thompson, we need you to come with us to the police station to give a statement regarding charges of trespassing and property damage. Abby's face went red, then white. This is insane. She's my sister. Ma'am, we need you to come with us. Everyone except Miss Anderson needs to leave this property immediately. The items you brought should stay here. They'll be seized as evidence. They escorted everyone out. Mom was crying, Dad was yelling. Jacob looked like he wanted to disappear. Abby was still screaming threats at me as they walked her to the police car. The next day, I called Mr. Harris from my apartment in Reno. "Can I start fixing the house now?" I asked. "I want to get rid of that awful wallpaper and fix the sofa." "Don't touch anything yet," he said. "The damage your sister caused is our main evidence. We need it exactly as it is for the trial. I know it's hard, but you have to wait." I was disappointed. Every time I thought about that house with its silver wallpaper and bright yellow walls, I felt sick. But I understood. Evidence was evidence. So I waited. I went to work every day. I avoided my parents' calls. I didn't go to the Lake Tahoe house because I couldn't stand seeing it that way. Mr. Harris kept me updated on everything. Abby had hired a lawyer. My parents were helping pay for it. Of course, they always helped Abby. 3 months later, the trial happened. I wore a professional suit and met Mr. Harris at the courthouse. My parents were already there, sitting behind Abby. Jacob wasn't with them. I found out later he'd filed for divorce the week after the police came. He wanted full custody of the kids, and he was using Abby's criminal behavior as his reason. Smart guy. He finally figured out who he'd married. The trial started. Abby's lawyer tried to make it sound like a family misunderstanding. He said Abby thought she had permission because her parents gave her the key. He said she was just trying to make the house nicer. He said the money she asked for was reasonable because she'd paid contractors. Then Abby took the stand. She was crying. She said I'd betrayed her. She said family was supposed to help each other. She said she couldn't believe her own sister was doing this to her. My parents were nodding along, looking at me like I was the criminal. Then it was Mr. Harris's turn. He set up a large monitor in the courtroom. "I'd like to show some security footage from Miss Anderson's property." He played the videos. First, the one showing Abby opening the door with the key and letting contractors in. Then the one where she was giving them instructions about changing everything. Then the big on, the video where she was on the phone with my father. Her voice came through the courtroom speakers. "Dad, you should see this place. Penelope is going to be so shocked. When we move in, the house will be ours." The courtroom went silent. Abby's face turned red. Her lawyer looked down at his papers. My mother stopped nodding. "When we move in, the house will be ours," Mr. Harris repeated. "Not when we visit, not when we borrow it. When we move in, Mrs. Thompson had every intention of taking permanent possession of her sister's property." He played the audio recording of our phone call where Abby demanded $4,200. Her voice sounded aggressive and entitled. Nothing like the crying victims she'd been pretending to be on the stand. The jury went to deliberate. It didn't take them long. 40 minutes, maybe. We find the defendant guilty. Abby started crying again. Real crying this time, not the fake stuff from earlier. The judge looked at her without sympathy. "Miss Thompson, you are sentenced to 2 years probation. You will have a criminal record. In the civil matter, you are ordered to pay $83,000 in compensation to Miss Anderson for property damage, legal fees, and emotional distress. $83,000. I hadn't expected it to be that much. Mr. Harris had done his homework on how much everything would cost to repair, plus punitive damages. Abby collapsed in her chair. Her lawyer was talking to Hare, but she wasn't listening. My mother was sobbing. My father looked like someone had punched him. After the trial, my parents tried to approach me in the hallway. I walked past them without saying a word. Over the next few weeks, I heard things through relatives. Jacob's divorce went through fast. He got full custody of both kids. Abby had to sell her car to start paying the debt. She sold jewelry, furniture, anything valuable. She took out a loan for the rest. She moved back in with our parents because she had nowhere else to go. My parents told everyone they knew that I'd betrayed my sister. They said I was cruel and heartless. But here's the thing about small communities. Word gets around. People found out what really happened. They saw the court documents. They heard about the security footage. Suddenly, my parents weren't getting invited to things anymore. People at their church stopped sitting near them. Their friends made excuses not to come over. They'd supported Abby stealing from me, and now they were facing the consequences. I deleted every contact from my phone. Mom, Dad, Abby, all the relatives who'd called me heartless for pressing charges. I was done with all of them. A month after the trial ended, I finally got to fix my house. I hired professionals to strip that awful silver wallpaper and put up something calm and beautiful. I had the sofa restored to its original upholstery. I repainted the studio a soft cream color. I fixed the drill holes in the kitchen wall and got rid of that cheap wine rack. When it was done, the house looked even better than before. I started going there most weekends. Just me. I had the locks changed and got new security codes. I was the only person with keys now, the only person who would ever have keys. Last week, a cousin called me. We'd stayed in touch because she'd supported me through everything. She told me Abby was living in my parents' attic. They'd converted it into a bedroom for her. She was working 3 jobs to pay off the loan. One of them was a night shift at the supermarket, stocking shelves from midnight until 6 o'clock in the morning. 6 months after the trial, I was living a completely different life. My Lake Tahoe house had become what I'd always wanted it to be, a real refuge. I went there almost every weekend now. Sometimes I'd paint in my studio. Sometimes I'd just sit on the deck and watch the lake. The house felt like mine again in a way it hadn't before. Work was going well. I'd gotten a promotion to senior analyst. My boss had noticed I seemed more focused, more confident. I didn't tell him about the family drama. I just did my job better than I ever had. I'd made new friends too. People I met through a hiking group at the lake. We'd go on trails together on Saturday mornings. They didn't know anything about my past. They just knew me as Penelope, the woman who loved the outdoors and made terrible jokes about spreadsheets. My parents kept trying to reach me for the first few months after the trial. Long emails about family and forgiveness. Voicemails from my mother crying about how I'd torn the family apart. My father leaving messages saying I should be ashamed. I deleted everything without reading or listening. After a while, they stopped trying. The cousin who'd kept me informed told me more about Abby's situation. She was still living in the attic, still working 3 jobs. The night shift at the supermarket, a lunch shift at a diner, weekends at a dry cleaner. She looked exhausted all the time. The loan payments were eating up almost everything she earned. Jacob had remarried already. Some woman he'd known from work. The kids seemed happy from what my cousin said. They lived in an ICE neighborhood, and Jacob's new wife was apparently really good with them. Abby got supervised visitation every other weekend, but that was it. The criminal record had destroyed any chances she had of getting real custody. My parents' social life had completely fallen apart. My mother had tried going to the local grocery store and ran into some of her old friends. They turned away and walked down another aisle. My father had been asked to step down from some committee he'd been on for years. No one wanted to be associated with them. I heard all this through my cousin, and I didn't feel bad about it. They'd made their choices. They'd always chosen Abby over me. They'd told me my whole life to forgive her, to let things go, to be the bigger person. Well, I'd been the bigger person for 34 years. I was done. My house was beautiful now, better than it had ever been. I'd hired an interior designer to help me redo everything. The dining room had elegant wallpaper in soft gray. The living room had my restored sofa, plus new chairs that matched perfectly. The kitchen had the holes repaired, and I'd installed a proper wine rack that actually looked good. My studio upstairs was painted in that soft cream color, and I'd added better lighting for painting. I'd also upgraded the security system. More cameras, better locks, a new alarm system. Not because I was paranoid, but because I wanted to feel completely safe. This was my space, my sanctuary. Nobody was taking it from me again. Last month, I was at the supermarket near my apartment in Reno. It was late, maybe 10 at night. I needed milk and bread for the morning. I was walking down the cereal aisle when I saw her, Abby. She was wearing a blue employee vest, stocking shelves. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. She looked thin, tired, older than 31. She had that look people get when they're working too hard and sleeping too little. She saw meat the same time I saw her. We both froze. For a second, I thought she might say something, maybe yell at me, maybe start crying, but she didn't. She just looked at me with these empty eyes, then turned back to her boxes and kept stocking shelves. I finished my shopping and left. Driving home, I tried to figure out how I felt. Did I feel sorry for her? No. Did I feel guilty? No. Did I feel satisfied seeing her like that? Not really. I just felt nothing. Shetry to take something that was mine. She thought she could get away with it because she always had before. She'd been wrong. Sometimes my cousin asked me if I ever thought about reaching out to my family, about trying to reconcile. I always gave her the same answer. No, they'd shown me who they were. Abby had shown me who she was. I believed them. I had my house on the lake. I had my career. I had my new friends who didn't come with decades of baggage and resentment. I had peace. That was more than enough. People talk about family like it's everything, like blood means you have to forgive anything. But I learned something through all of this. Family is supposed to respect you, support you, not steal from you, not expect you to sacrifice everything while they take and take and take. I'd spent 34 years being the responsible one, the one who gave in, the one who forgave. I was done with that version of myself. Now I was just Penelope, the woman with the beautiful house on Lake Tahoe, the senior financial analyst, the terrible joke teller on hiking trails, the person who'd learned to set boundaries and actually keep them. And I slept better than I ever had in my life. Abby was working 3 jobs in my parents' attic, paying off a debt she'd earned by trying to steal from me. My parents were isolated and alone, facing the consequences of always choosing the wrong daughter to support. And me, I was free. That was the end of it. That was my story. I didn't regret a single decision I'd made. Not the lawyer, not the criminal charges, not cutting them all off. Some people might think I was too harsh, too unforgiving. Those people had never spent their whole lives coming second to a spoiled younger sister. I'd taken my life back. My house, my peace of mind, my self-respect. And I wasn't giving any of it up ever again.